ambitious girl. You're just small time.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. As always, I am Jonathan, your host here at QuickBird Gaming, and I appreciate you tuning in for the next episode of How Does It Play Today, my series where I look back at games celebrating their 25th anniversary since publishing. We got a doozy here for you today. I think this is a special one because we are now in 2026. We're looking at games from 2001, and I didn't think there was any place else I could start other than with the game Grand Theft Auto 3. Now, for those who might be unaware, GTA 3, as I said, was published in 2001, originally for the PlayStation 2. It's since been ported to PC, and it was a departure from the GTA formula. The first two games were top-down. They had a different focus. This one became, they went to a 3D, over-the-shoulder type of gameplay, and I think really laid the groundwork for the Grand Theft Auto franchise to become the juggernaut it is today. This is really where it got started. As you saw in the intro, the basic plot concerns a small-time thug named Claude who is betrayed by his partner during a bank heist. He's subsequently arrested for that, and then on his way to prison, during a breakout of other prisoners, he also escapes, and the game kind of proceeds from there. The plot is actually pretty interesting when you get down to it and you start getting into all the details. I won't give anything away here. You need to play it to go through it and see for yourself. Just bear in mind, there is no honor among thieves, and that is very clear all the way through this story. But really, that's putting the cart before the horse here. When it gets right down to it, now that this game is 25 years old, let's go take a look. How well does it play today? I think one of the first things a player is going to notice in this game is the absolute freedom of movement they have in moving around the city and seeing and doing things. The city and the setting for Grand Theft Auto 3 is very vibrant. There are constantly civilians and stuff out doing their own thing. They're out moving around, and you can see them people going about their daily lives. Cars constantly traveling, and so on and so forth. And it's a very good backdrop and there's really no restriction on where you can go or what you can do. You can run around. You can pick people up in their taxi, and of course you can carjack people, which is kind of the point of the game. And you can just drive away with people's vehicles and go commit crimes with them. And that's something that you would have to do in the way of playing the game. So this is the kind of game where if you're not comfortable committing crimes against random people, you probably don't want to play it. But just tell yourself, they're digital, it's all good. No actual cars or humans were harmed in the making of this, which is a good thing because in the course of the game, you're going to destroy a lot of both. The main thrust of the gameplay is mission-oriented. When you first bust out of prison, your co-escapee will take you to a place to meet one of the local mob bosses. And while you're there, he'll give you a job. They'll start off simple enough at first, but then, of course, they'll get more complex as it goes, and other locations with other jobs will come up. And the whole thing is kind of wrapped in a narrative frame that feels gritty and kind of got a good element of criminality to it.
Say hello to 8-Ball, ladies.
8-Ball's got some business upstairs. Well, maybe you could do me a favor. One of my girls needs a ride, so grab a car and pick up Misty from the clinic, then bring her back here. Remember, no one messes with my girls. So keep your hands on the wheel. If you don't mess this up, maybe there'll be more work for you. Now get out of here.
Pick up one of my girls from the clinic. My girl in clinic. You can probably guess what kind of line of work Misty is involved in. Again, it is just that type of game. As you go through the missions, you'll see on your mini-map a little green square that kind of indicates where you need to go. So you do have the waypoints, and then as you get closer, you'll notice the big blue arrow over the young lady's head. And if I can keep from crashing into the poles, eventually I'll get close enough to pick her up and bring her back. And yes, keep your hands off of her. And as soon as you do that, as soon as you get her back to where she's supposed to be,
Except for one of the other 800 stations owned by Love Media, our sister stations. Rock and roll! It's
$1,500 for what would have been probably a $50 cab or an Uber ride? I don't ask questions of gangsters. It's fine. I'll take the money. Anyway, as you do that, of course, more jobs will become available, and their locations, in this case, L for Luigi, will light up on the map, and so on and so forth, and other opportunities will become available. And there are a lot of missions in this game, both here in Portland, and as you move to other areas, they will also become available there. Now, please bear in mind, I have only just scratched the surface in terms of the gameplay in Grand Theft Auto 3. There's so much more involved in this, including the police chasing you and your wanted level and just some of the other aspects of it. I just wanted to kind of set a baseline before we got to the question of this video. And of course, that question is, now that we are 25 years after the fact, how well does it play today? Well, to not make too fine a point of it, I think this game still holds up really well, even 25 years later. There are, of course, some dated elements. You can look at the graphics and you can see that clearly this is an older game. But when it comes to the salient point, the one thing that makes a game, will make or break a game, and that is the gameplay. GTA 3, I think, is still a lot of fun to play. The missions are, I don't want to say there's a whole lot of uniqueness to them. They basically pretty much involve ferrying people places, going and doing people in, blowing things up, ramming cars off the road and robbing them. They're all kind of variants on the same gangster themes. But they're really wrapped in a narrative cocoon that fits in so well with the story that I never got the feeling. They never felt like it was stale or boring. It all kept me really engaged. And that's, to me, is the most important part of the game. Can you still have a lot of fun with it? And I think you can with this game. And yeah, like I said, the presentation is a little bit dated, but the sound is on point. The voice acting is still pretty decent, and this game features something I had not seen at the time, and is still to this day is pretty impressive feat. I think as you're driving, you can flip this car's radio, and there I think are 10 different radio stations with upward of a total of 55 distinct separate songs that you can listen to. A few of which are licensed real-world songs, but most of the rest were written for this game. And that's still really impressive. And it just adds to the aura and the atmosphere. If you want to be a gangster, you can be a gangster. And all of this just puts you further in the mood. It's a really impressive accomplishment. And again, I think it holds up well today. You'll listen to these songs as you're driving. You're going to get hyped up and you're not going to get bored. And 25 years later, I still think that's a pretty good accomplishment. One thing that I appreciated about GTA 3, which I find to be a hallmark of more modern games, is your flexibility in your missions. For example, in this particular mission, you're tasked to take out a guy in Chinatown who's one of the Triad's gangsters who's working out of a fast food kiosk. But he has a bunch of his boys around him, and it can be difficult. Now, you can engage all of them, and as soon as you do, if you start shooting or attacking or whatever, as soon as you do, they'll run at you to attack, and he will flee in the other direction. Then you have to chase him down. So you can take the direct head-on approach, or once you realize that he has a getaway car, actually he has several, and will go to the one depending on which way you chase him, which way you approach from, he's going to go the opposite direction. Once you realize he's got these several getaway cars, you can go and steal that car, take that car to your friend 8Ball's shop and have it wired to explode, and then park it back where it was. And as long as you don't tear it up too much, he'll still view it as a valid getaway car. If you remember to arm the bomb and leave it there, when you go from the other angle and attack him and chase him this direction, he'll get in it and blow himself up, and you won't have to chase him down. And the game, a lot of the missions in the game feature that type of flexibility, which I think is really cool. Now, as I pointed out, several things haven't held up as well over the years. One, the camera angle when you're on foot is controllable and generally not too bad. However, when you're driving, especially if you are in tight quarters, the camera can be absolutely atrocious. It can be very difficult to see what you're doing. Now, going forward and back will spin it so that you can usually see where you're going, but it doesn't always adjust very well. And it can be extremely hard sometimes to know if you're about to back into something, especially. So the camera controls while driving are not fantastic. Because of that camera angle issue, the combat in this game can be difficult. It is sometimes hard to get a view of your enemies when you're trying to line up to shoot or bash them. And when you try to aim, I found the camera frequently locked behind me and I could not see them in my field of vision. And this became a problem. The lock-on mechanism in this game is not very user-friendly or accurate. As somebody who's been mostly playing PC games for the last 20 plus years, I've gotten very used to having a mouse and keyboard combination to aim with, and I really did miss it here. And that worked out to my detriment quite a few times. Enemy behavior is not that well scripted either. In that same mission where I was trying to get the guy in the booth, I figured I'd wire his car, he'd run, I would just distract his boys, and then I would run for it rather than fight him, hoping that while I was running, the other dude would blow himself up. Well, I did that. They started chasing after me. I made a break for it, tried to get away, and as I did, I ran to my own car. They caught up to me and pulled me right out of it. But before anything else could happen, there was the boom, and the mission was passed. The other guy blew himself up, and his guys just kind of lost interest and let me walk away. Now, I mean, this isn't necessarily any worse than other type of games, like some of the old Resident Evil games, when you would have a horde of zombies on your tail, but when you crossed a zone into a new room, they would just stop following you. This is just the nature of these older games, but it does stand out compared to if you're used to playing more modern games. This kind of, I guess, I hate to use AI because AI is in vogue for a lot of reasons now, but this kind of enemy AI does stand out. The police are none too vigilant either. I mean, you can do things like steal parked cars and set off alarms that will go off for a good 20 seconds, and nobody ever really reacts. You can have all kinds of mayhem and car collisions, carjackings, just several cars in a row, and nobody will ever come after you. You can run red lights right in front of them, drive all over the street, and they never really react. The police seem to be restricted to a certain set of criteria, most of which are violent acts, attacking somebody, running over somebody, blowing up cars, and things like that. That will get their attention. But beyond that, you can do a lot of damage and create a lot of problems in town and never really develop much of a reputation. And I get it. It's kind of part of the game's restrictions on, allowing you to shed your wanted level so you can keep playing and not have the cops chasing you down. And frankly, when the police are chasing you, unless you get your wanted level up to the middle, 4+ stars, they're really not that much of a threat. It's usually very easy to find the paint shop and drive into it and pretty much lose them for good. So I thought it would be more interesting to kind of let your deeds speak for you, because there are certain missions where you're going to generate wanted level just because your actions require it. They require you to either blow stuff up or shoot people. But there's a lot of times when, if you're cautious, you'll never have a threat from the police, and that kind of removes some of the dimension for it. Nobody's ever really looking for you persistently, no matter how many cars you steal or how many light posts you run over. But even with some of those detractions, I still have to say I enjoyed my time in GTA 3. Grand Theft Auto is a franchise I don't have a whole lot of experience with. I played the first one way back it's got to be almost 30 years or more than 25 since it came out. It's been a long time. But I have not really played any of the games as it evolved. However, if you're in this space, you can't help but notice just how massive this franchise is and acknowledge that. So I really wanted to give it its due diligence and check it out and see how this game held up. And I was really surprised. for a game that's 25 years old, just the freedom that's involved and the depth and complexity of some of the missions. Yeah, the graphics obviously are dated, but the gameplay, I feel like, still holds up pretty good today. And I enjoyed it. Now, I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time here. I unfortunately have got a backlog that's deeper than the ocean that I really have to get some things done. But this is definitely going to be something that I feel like I can revisit and come back to. The game is good enough that I felt like I could revisit it. And for a game that's 25 years old, I don't think you can pay a game a higher compliment than that. It's good enough that in this day and age, you still want to go back and play it. So I still give GTA 3 a thumbs up. I think it is still worth playing today. Okay, I'm going to wrap this one up now. I'm going to move on to my next game on the list of how well does it play today. As always, I appreciate you tuning in for this. If you enjoyed this content, please do the YouTube stuff. You know how it goes. Please leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you think of GTA 3. And let me know if you think I missed anything, if you agree or disagree with my conclusions. I'm open to all feedback. I read all comments on my videos. I try to respond to as many as I can. So I appreciate that engagement. In the meantime, like I said, I'm going to get back to it. We have some more stuff coming up on the channel, and I thank you all in advance for tuning in for it. So thank you once more for sticking with me through this. Y'all go out there, live your best lives, and y'all stay gaming.